I know most of you probably don't believe me, but this is actually a very exciting topic. And no, this isn't a video about some secret HP source, although that would be very interesting. In my opinion, the humble self-invested personal pension, or SIPP for short, is one of the most underrated financial superpowers we have in the UK. These accounts, when used correctly, are basically a cheat code, and can make you hundreds of thousands of pounds better off than your peers. Plus, they're actually very easy to understand. And if all of that didn't get your attention, trust me, the rest of this video will. So stop what you're doing, grab a nice hot drink, sit down and take the time to really focus on this video. Trust me, your future self will thank you. So what is a self-invested personal pension? A self-invested personal pension is a retirement pot, just like your workplace pension, but you're in control, and this gives you way more options. If you have ever had a dig around your workplace pension platform, or you were young and lucky enough to have seen your parents manage their pensions, this will all look very familiar. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say that it's basically just a glorified but slightly magical piggy bank. Why should you use a SIPP? SIPPs have a few key benefits, with the most obvious being the tax incentives. For a basic rate taxpayer, for every £100 you invest, you'll get an extra 25% on top, bringing your total to £125. This £125 can then grow tax-free until you eventually withdraw it. When you withdraw it, 25% of the top will be tax-free up to a current maximum of £268,275, and the rest will sadly be taxed as income. But this is usually at a much lower rate than you're currently paying. This bonus actually gets even better for those of you who are higher or additional rate taxpayers, allowing you to claim back 40 to 45% via a self-assessment. You do sadly have to do this manually each year, which kind of sucks because the basic rate 25% top-up is automatic, but that could be thousands of pounds extra every single year, so it's 100% worth doing even if you get some help. Another fantastic use of SIPPs is that you can use them to combine old workplace pensions, or transfer funds from one workplace pension after the employer's contribution has been added. This means that if you take the time to move the funds, you can get all the benefits of a workplace pension combined with the control of a SIPP. Not to mention how much easier things are when you have them all in one place. I'm sure we've all had multiple jobs, multiple workplace pensions, and most people completely lose track of them. SIPPs are a great way to stop this. One other commonly overlooked benefit of SIPPs, and pensions in general, is that they are normally exempt from inheritance tax. It's always worth checking on the current rules, but this is just another reason to use these accounts. All of this, combined with the lower fees and extra options a SIPP gives you, really start to paint a picture of why these accounts are so great. When can I access the money? You can access your SIPP when you reach 55, with this increasing to 57 from 2028. Obviously, any increase like this really sucks. But for a retirement account, thankfully most people wouldn't be withdrawing it before this anyway, so it shouldn't affect how you use this account in any significant way. On the flip side of that, the good news is that you can withdraw regardless of your income or if you're still working or not. So what are the drawbacks? Okay, so I've been singing the praises of these accounts for pretty much the entire video so far. But just like anything in life, it's not all good. The most obvious downfall of these accounts, in my opinion, isn't the age of withdrawal, but instead the income tax at withdrawal. Now, for the vast majority of people, the upside massively outweighs this negative. But if you expect to have an exceptionally high income during retirement, it might be worth looking at other options. But if you are someone with an extremely high income, I would highly recommend spending the time and money looking for a qualified financial advisor. Personal finances are at their very nature personal, and sadly, there's no one-size-fits-all solution. Which SIPP should you use? As of the time of making this video, the best SIPP on the market comes from InvestEngine. You can even get up to £100 for free when using the link in my description. Plus, it also helps support me in making niche and super nerdy videos like this one. How much do I need to invest? This is by far the most difficult question to answer because these numbers change a lot from person to person, and there's no right answer. But personally, I'd at the very least use my SIPP to combine or move my workplace pensions into one place. And depending on my circumstances or income level, I would consider using it for a portion of my investing at any age, with the remainder going between an ISA and the commonly misunderstood LISA. It's also the best place to invest for retirement once you've maxed out your ISA, and becomes incredibly good at protecting your wealth at much higher income levels. If you want to know more about the LISA, I'll leave a link to a video going over how LISAs work in the description below. And for those of you on higher incomes, I would seriously consider using a SIPP as my main investing account. That tax relief of up to 45% means it would only take £550 to get £1,000 into your pension as an additional rate taxpayer. And this is hard, if not downright impossible to beat. As a general rule of thumb, when you've accounted for everything, you should be aiming to invest between 15 and 25% of your income for retirement. I know those are scary numbers, but when you've accounted for tax relief and hopefully a nice employer match, you'll find out that the out-of-pocket cost could be much lower than you might expect. But please do your own calculations. You have to know if you're on track or not on track for retirement. Let's look at a perfect use case of the SIPP. This is Scotty. As you can see, he's passionate about personal finances, and so he saves an impressive £200 a month into his SIPP from the age of 20. Averaging a 7.5% return. Let's compare Scotty to his brother Socks. Socks is also passionate about personal finances, and so he saves £200 a month into his ISA, also from the age of 20. He also, for the sake of simplicity, averages a 7.5% return. Now both Socks and Scotty are both higher rate taxpayers, which is where these accounts really shine, and both want to retire at the age of 65. Now this is when the numbers get really interesting. At the age of 65, Socks managed to save an impressive £898,989.98, very specific, giving him a tax-free retirement annual income of around 35k, which happens to line up with the median income in the UK currently. Not that that changes the numbers, just thought that was worth mentioning. Now, although Scotty only invested £200 a month, thanks to his higher rate tax relief, this was actually topped up to a whopping £334.34 per month, which means by the age of 65, he's on a jaw-dropping £1,498,346 and a lucky 60p, which could sustain a retirement income of almost £60,000. Now the keen-eyed among you would realise that Scotty does have to pay income tax, and completely ignoring the 25% tax-free lump sum, that still leaves Scotty almost £10,000 better off than Socks. And that's assuming the tax bands don't move for 45 years, which even the most pessimistic among you hopefully don't think is going to happen. I really hope not. Hopefully that's cleared up your main questions and given you a good idea of what on earth a SIPP is. Now, what if I told you an account exists with the tax-free benefit of an ISA with the 25% bonus of the SIPP? Well, believe it or not, it does. And that's why you need to check out this video about the Lifetime ISA.